George is a good guy. George is just there to help. George is the original Babe in the Woods. How do you act a cartoon character? I don't know. I think you have to make him a person. You have to have him have hopes and aspirations. And yes, there are rules about George. He will always win the day because his secret weapon is dumb luck. I loved working with Leslie Mann and Thomas Hayden Church. I loved working with all the guys who were the pack bearers. I loved working with the suit performers in George. They were fantastic. I mean, these guys have a niche performance expertise in simian behavior. I mean, these are the guys that went on to do a lot of the Planet of the Apes movies. They were actors, performers in suits with heads, attached, and Jim Henson's Creature Shop using cutting edge animatronics to make the faces move and be puppeted remotely. It was exciting to combine all of these different elements to make a really broad, colorful comedy. George the Jungle was using CGI technology in a way that was first just starting to come into the world of filmmaking in a way that we really take for granted now. For instance, George's dog is Shep. He's an elephant. And on the day we shot with Ty, the elephant, the shot was designed to have Shep framed up with George, and then George introduces his dog to Ursula and says, "This is my dog." I think I went to scratch the elephant like you would scratch a dog. The CGI guys who were there to watch scrutinizing with hawk eyes about every movement that I made, because if I raised my arm higher than one picture plane and crossed, for instance, the eyes of the elephant, across his eyes, they couldn't animate those in the way that they wanted to make them look like they had big blinky eyebrows and lashes. And if I did it too low, then it would have been another, $100,000 if I did this. And it was on budget if I did this. For what we know now and what we started off with then and going back even further, it's just astonishing to see what we can do with CGI. It all comes back to the actor, the performer, believing in what they're doing, because if they don't, then their audience won't. No matter how much you gussy it up with all the bells and whistles. I cut my teeth in George of the Jungle in learning how to work in a real broad comedic way, and also hone that into a performance that made sense to everyone who had to work on it in post-production to sell the broad jokes. The Mummy series.
No! You must not read from the book!
It's an action picture wrapped up in a comedy and a romance and an adventure and a little bit of a horror and a thrill-a-minute kind of roller coaster popcorn movie. It had a lot of prove-it shots in it. We rode our own camels, we wielded our weapons, we fought one another, we ran around in the heat of the desert of Ouarzazate in Morocco. And all of that gave an authenticity to the movie that I think made it more globally appealing than if it had been, shot in Arizona or New Mexico. The late great Jim Jackson was adamant about going to the place where Lawrence of Arabia was shot. I mean, the very place itself is an important character in the movie. It was thrilling. It had a little bit of, not danger per se, but some risk taking to it also that felt like, well, what will happen today? Will we survive Stephen Sommers, who's one of his favorite directions that he would give was he'd go, "Ready, and don't suck, action!" through a bullhorn, and we'd and things would blow up and stuff would fall down and animals on fire and Arnold. Okay, we got it. Let's do it again. We're here. Stephen just loves making movies. He loved his job. His enthusiasm's infectious. I loved making that movie. It was kind of like coming back to another semester of college. You're like, hey guys, how'd your summer go? Did you get a job? It was good to see everybody. And to go back to Morocco too. Like, hey, there's like, there's my favorite camel guy, like, hi, how are you? Salah, how are you, man? Hey, man. Yeah, can I have my sunglasses back? You borrowed them that one day. You never gave back. Never mind. You keep them. It was just more of the same. People wanted more. So we gave them more of the same. We gave them more is more. Lucky us, they responded. The blur mind here because I never met Dwayne until after the premiere because he was a piece of tape on a stick that we referred to while we were me and Arnold were beating on each other. Then they, of course, put him in CGI later. And I know, be kind. The guys who did the CGI of the Scorpion King at the premiere, they were like, hey, how are you? Great. Good job. Hey, we did the Scorpion King CG. And they kind of went, yeah, we need a little more time before we, but they did, it was very last minute. I don't know. But some of the charm of it is now when you watch it now, like it could get remastered, I guess, but it kind of wouldn't be as fun if you didn't see this sort of janky video character of Dwayne going, somehow it's just perfect how it works, how things work out.
Here we go again.
Okay, so first of all, look, it's an action movie. Rob Cohen was directing this one, and Steve Summers was executive producing it. So it had a different spirit, a different character. Sadly, Rachel didn't come back. I mean, I say it selfishly. It was its own film, and it was set in Shanghai and parts of China. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of fighting, a lot of fall down, go boom.
Welcome to the 20th century.
I had been up until that point always playing every role that I had as kinetically as possible, as physically as possible, as engaged in what the action of the character was to get my meaning and my point across. What can I say? It caught up with me. I had a few injuries that became another injury. Like they said, I was playing hurt. So I would wrap up and tape, and you do the things you got to do to get through with it, and we all do that, and I'm happy to. But it meant that I needed to start thinking about how to work smart instead of work hard. Around the time I made that movie, it was sort of a fundamental shift in my approach. And now, when it comes to doing this stuff, I just look at the young guys and go, you're gonna be great in this shot, man, go kill it.
Did you ever return to the franchise?
Absolutely. Got a script? Yeah, that was great fun. Are you kidding?